fixing a hole in the deck or bottom of your Varuna surfboard. Thor and his mighty hammer were busy, so we got Olivier in to help break and fix this brand new Varuna surfboard. Before repairing the damaged area, make sure you've left your Varuna out of the water long enough for it to dry fully and all water to have been drained from the compartment. Our Varuna surfboards are made with horizontal ribs running from the tip down to where your back foot goes. At the back foot we have added wire ribs so that our boards have lengthways flex and also torsional flex for that spring back feeling through your bottom turns. Each rib piece has been cut with holes along its length to decrease weight in the board and increase responsiveness. These holes have been covered with gore-tex so that they are breathable but don't allow water to pass through each compartment. Inspect your damaged area and remove all wax that may be near the ding. In this case, we've used a fresh board, so no wax was harmed in the making of this clip. Using a hole saw, mark the area around your ding as a guide where you will be removing the dinged wood. Cut through the area with your hole saw. You can see here that we are right up against the horizontal rib and where the watertight gore-tex has been applied to the rib holes. With a pencil, mark a circle 2 cm beyond the hole you've cut. This is what the balsa repair patch will sit on once you've completed the next steps. Using a file, sand the 2 cm overlap back to the original hole, creating a reverse lip. Now hand sand an extra 2 cm from where your lip starts so that when you repair the board, you can bond to this area firmly. Sand lightly, making sure not to take all the glass off, except for the immediate damaged area. Take the balsa repair patch supplied by Varuna and mark a circle the same size as the hole, including the lip area. Cut this out and hand sand the edges so that it will sit neatly in the hole you've created. Fit the piece into the hole, making any small adjustments needed so that it fits flush with the board. Mark the top, bottom, left and right sides so you can fit this easily in the next steps. Vacuum out the interior compartment for any loose wood dust that may have fallen in. We are now creating the plastic circular tube that will slot into your damaged area. Measure the depth of your hole using a ruler. Mark the depth on a piece of plastic sheet. You can find this at your local newsagent. Cut a rectangle using a Stanley knife from your measurements. Line this up with your damaged hole and bend the plastic to create a tube that is 3 cm wider than your hole. Tape the edges together to make the plastic tube. Fold it in half as seen here and insert into the hole, letting it spring back to tube shape once inside the board. Adjust the positioning so all sides of the tube are covered by the deck. We use Boatcraft Pacific's 2-part pouring expanding foam to fill the tube. Mix a ratio of 1 parts ISO Part A with 2 parts polyol Part B together in a cup. For this repair, the measurements were 5 ml ISO Part A and 10 ml polyol Part B. We used 2 separate plastic syringes for this, so the 2 parts didn't come into contact in the cans. Take your wooden stick and mix thoroughly before pouring into the hole you've created. Sit back and watch the expanding foam rise from the base of the hole up and through the lipped opening. This should take 10 minutes and be fully set within 30 minutes. Once set, sand down the excess expanding foam. Use a small, hard sanding disc to take the expanding foam down to the bottom of the reverse lip. This is where your balsa repair patch will sit neatly. Make any minor adjustments to your balsa repair patch as needed so that it sits flush with your board. Sand around the damaged area using 80 grit with a hard pad on the sander, making sure to go 10 cm over into the undamaged fiberglass so that when you add the fiberglass cloth and resin, it will bond to the area firmly. Sand lightly, making sure not to take all the glass off. Use tape to mark the area the resin will be added so that it doesn't spread further across the board. Mix your resin with 2 parts resin and 1 part hardener with a pinch of Cavasil. Tip: to match the colour of the resin more closely to the balsa wood board, sand some wood dust into the resin mix. Pour the resin into the sunken area that you've created and spread it around so that all repair surfaces and edges are covered. Place the balsa repair patch firmly into the sunken area. Weight this down. We used a roll of duct tape and a dumbbell weight. Wait 24 hours for this to set. Starting with a hard pad, sand back the edges of the resin that overflowed. Switch to a soft pad to bring the hard resin down to deck level. Finish with a hand sand on a hard pad and rough the edges of the damaged area again for your 6-ounce fiberglass cloth layers. Use tape to mark the area the resin and fiberglass cloth will be added so that it doesn't spread further across the board. Cut a circle of fiberglass cloth to fit over the repair as seen here. then another rectangular piece of cloth that will cover that for extra strength. Brush epoxy resin onto the area so that it sticks the fiberglass down. Lay the cloth down and brush the resin on. Lay your circular piece of cloth down and brush the epoxy resin mix onto the area. Repeat this process with the rectangular piece of cloth. Swipe the area with a hard-edged piece of plastic to remove any air bubbles that may be there. Then brush more resin over the top so that all areas are covered. Trim the cloth back to make the next steps easier to sand back. Leave for 24 hours to set before removing the tape. Sand back the area with 120 grit and a hard pad. At this stage, you don't want to sand back too much, just enough to smooth the area. Switch to a soft pad and continue sanding. Clean the area with methylated spirits to review your work. Brush the filler coat on. This is the same resin you would have used previously. It takes out any imperfections and gives you the best result. Use 150 grit to sand the filler coat back using a soft sanding pad to maintain the curve of the deck. Spray a clear coat over this, and the final step is a wet sandpaper with 400 to 600 grit to create the final smooth touch. Your Varuna is fully repaired and ready to get back in the water. For more information, head to www.varuna.surf.